Why you need to retire early? The parking lot theory. I retired at 52. I've been retired about 2 years now. Actually, the 5th is going to be my 2-year anniversary of not having an alarm clock, a boss, customers, or any other reason to hate life. And I'm trying to share this with you. This is going to be a nice short video where I explain the parking lot theory and why you need to retire early. If you want to watch a longer video where you get your questions answered during a live stream, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live stream where I answer all questions. But most people won't click on a 2-hour video. So that's what these short videos are for. The parking lot theory, if you're into the sciences or like me, if you listen to a lot of the great lectures, which is where this correlation came to me, is the parking lot theory is often related to battery charging. And people ask questions of, why does my phone charge in an hour, but when I plug it in at night, it says for optimized charging, it'll be done at 3 a.m. Weird. Why does it take so long to actually charge? And that's because of the parking lot theory, which I'm going to relate to why you need to retire early. If you pull into a parking lot and it's empty, right? You're going to whatever store, Costco, an event, and the parking lot is empty. It's very convenient and very fast, right? You pull in. If you're like me, you like to park close to the exit so that when something happens, you can actually leave, because believe it or not, things happen. If you're like most people, you want the convenience of parking close. When it's empty, you have choices and you don't have to wait for anybody. There's less likelihood of a collision with anything because it's empty. As the parking lot fills up, gets to around 50%, it's not much different than when it was empty. You have a little more risk of collision. So if you're charging a battery, particles can collide. If you are pulling into a parking lot, you have to be a little more cognizant and aware of what's going on around you with the cars. The likelihood of a spot being open near the exit where I like to park, yeah, it's available. The likelihood of a spot being open near close parking is possible, though it starts to get a little less likely. So the optimized battery charging starts to change around 50%. And the parking lot, while it's not much slower, it's still different than when it was empty. Speaking of particles, I wonder if the Crash Bros can say the word proton. Not sure they can say anything positive. It's when the parking lot gets to about 80% capacity that our life changes. The likelihood of the spot that you prefer to park in being available, being open, is smaller. The convenient spots are taken. The vet's parking at the exit, probably taken. If you're like the company that I worked at and you actually terminated people from working there, if they ever pulled nose into a parking spot, and you like to know that you back into a parking spot for a long list of reasons that you may not understand, and it's not just a guy thing, it's actually a cognitive thing, that we back 3% of the time, but 95% of our accidents happen while a vehicle is going backwards, and you want to back out of a spot when you're not in driving mode because you just went shopping. You want to back in when you're in driving mode. Off topic. I'll digress. At 80%, when you pull into a parking spot, not only is it inconvenient, but now there's the possibility of congestion. Not only can you not park probably where you want to, but you have to be aware of other moving cars, other moving particles for the battery. The likelihood of finding a vacant spot, look over there in the G section, is pretty small. So you're going to have to think, possibly wait for another car, and you might be one of those people, or the person in front of you might be one of those people where if you see the brake lights flicker on another car, or you see it cycle through the reverse light for a second, that's probably somebody prepping to leave, even though they might be waiting for somebody else to come out. Or if they're like me, they went to the parking lot to get some alone time and to listen to some things. You are causing the congestion because of you thinking that a spot is going to open. That might not happen with the battery, but the battery is waiting for the right spot for the charged particles to go to. There's only so much surface area. Even when we get into graphene batteries, the surface area is where the charged particles are going to go. And in the parking lot, there's only so many spots. And if you have 100 spots, when it was at 50 spots full, there were 50 spots available, right? That's the half of it. At 80, you only have 20 spots in a 100-spot parking lot. Can you even see them all? So to live our lives, we all have the same 100% of the time. We biological creatures, we're going to sleep. So let's take a 24-hour weekday. You're going to lose, if you're normal, average, around 8 hours. Yes, some sleep less. Some, like me, it's never 8 hours in a row. It's 2 or 3 hour naps broken up throughout the day once I retired. And so 33% of your day, you're going into a 33% of your parking lot, it's already gone. It's close to empty. You don't have to do a lot of thinking. You have a lot of space available. You could take the convenience. You don't have the congestion. And then, because most people have to, almost all of us start this way, selling our life 1 hour at a time, we have a job. Even if it's a side hustle, an entrepreneur, something where we trade our time for money. That same limited 100% of our time that we have, if we're working an 8-hour shift, for me, it was usually 10 to 12-hour shifts, 50 to 60 hours a week. So you're going to lose another third of your day. You know what? That 66% of your day is gone. And if you are the average person, meowdy, Cody, good to see you here. Cody Davis Business Adventures. I like the name. That's a little more searchable than Cody Davis, although that's a pretty searched name. Not for reasons people expect. 66% of your time is gone to sleep and work. The parking lot is over half full, and you haven't even done anything for yourself yet. We have life. And I've seen the meme that says, never judge somebody because you don't know what's going on. But you know, most people have to do things like renew a license, renew a passport, vehicle registration, vehicle insurance, shop for the food in your house, throw things away. You have all of you have to clean your house, all of these things that take up at least 14% of your time, taking us up to that 80% where life changed for the parking lot and life changes for the battery, right? Charging a cell phone is an hour or two. Optimum charging, so that it doesn't stress the battery, getting a full charge, can take up to 8 hours, because that last 20% is the hardest to do in the parking lot. It's the hardest for the battery to do. And you, please write this down, are trying to live your life, right? YOLO, live to the fullest, in the 20%. That sucks. This is when life has congestion. This is when you want to do something, other things are going to pop up. You have to wait for the space to open. Can you even see the time openings? Like, can you see the spaces in the parking lot? When we don't free up our time and we do the normal plan that most people plan for, work more than 40 hours for more than 40 years to retire on less than 40% of what we made. Retirement sounds terrible because less than 40% of what we made is not going to be enough money for you to do the fun things that make life actually worth living. But if you have more than 100% of what you made when you were working coming in from a source you don't have to sell your life for 1 hour at a time, and I get it. It's hard. It's not easy. It took a decade, right? It is possible to reach financial freedom, to get rich quick in 10 years. The hard part is understanding that 10 years is quick. And everybody's saying it's so hard you can't do it now. I started as a single parent with 3 kids, got laid off from law enforcement, started teaching at a CDL school, making $17 an hour, and found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name I didn't know existed until the divorce. I had a pretty bad starting position. So yeah, I can complain like somebody in Futureland is going to do, how hard it is and nobody can retire anymore. And I could have just gave up on life. Like, that's what it sounds like that person's trying to do. Instead, I made a 10-year plan to reach financial freedom and make work optional so that I can, I'm still going to sleep. But without the work, without that time commitment, let's look at doing something simple like a task. Let's say you want to build a picture frame at your house or plan a vacation. Just some simple thing that you want to do that's not related to work, something you want to do for yourself. If you have a job and you've lost 66% of your time to work and sleep, and you've lost 14% of your time to living life, those requirements to live life, and you have your 20% left, you have to think, if I'm going to build a picture frame, I need to measure the space. I need to think, where am I going to source the materials? I have to figure out the plan of how am I going to hold it together. That's your first day, because you only had a few hours that day. You had that 20%, and that is if there wasn't a school function, there wasn't an emergency with your kids, your boss didn't ask you to work overtime, somebody else didn't call in sick, your spouse didn't think, hey, this is the time we should go do that thing we've been talking about 6 months. And remember, women, when your husband says he's going to do something, there's no reason to bitch and complain for 6 months, because he's probably going to get to it eventually. Wonder why I'm single. You have to think of the congestion in that 20% that you have left. And you think, I'm going to get this task done. And you want to plan a vacation? The first day is where, how long, because I have to think how much vacation time do I have available? How much travel time is going to be involved in the destination I pick? All of this happens when you have that 20% in the first day. The next day might be going to source the materials, choosing the store, figuring out the best pricing by looking at some apps. Or if you're doing the vacation, you're going to figure out if it's Vrbo, Airbnb, hotel, stay with friends and family if you're traveling back home. Like all of these choices are happening in that second day. So you're down 2 days to plan a trip or do a simple task at your house. Thank you for loving the flags. We got the 4th coming up. But just because there's a Navy base across the bay, there is always the Marine Corps flag here, because I want to remind them that the Department of the Navy, the Marine Corps, is also represented here. It's the men's department. But yeah, the flags are out for the 4th. Thank you. Threw off the Emperor's groove. Beware the groove. Now, you want to actually take the vacation. In the 20%, the 20% that's left after work, sleep, life can be interrupted. How much stress is involved in thinking, what if I miss a connecting flight? You know, getting to the vacation, yeah, it sucks, I'd be out of the money, but what if I miss a connecting flight on the way back? I could be out of job. You go to buy the materials to do the thing, now you got to transport them home and actually do the work to put it together. The fun thing you were thinking of doing for yourself became a 3-day event. If nothing else came up. Squirrel, absolutely. I'll probably start saying that again too. And if you retire early and you make work optional, yes, you can still have a job. You don't have to be super lazy like me and just travel all over, do all the scuba diving that you want, have no alarm clock, no boss, no time schedule. Get to think of things like the video that's coming out next week on things that no longer matter in retirement. And you have 100% of your time, you lose a third to sleep. You're still going to have the 14% that you're going to life, because you still renew your license and your passport and all of those things that you have to do to be a human. But you're well under that 80%. And planning a task around your house becomes a fun thing that's often done in a day. You have that whimsical thought of, this is the thing I want to do. Yeah, use whimsical in a video. My kids would laugh. You just do it. You have that time freedom to do it now, to do it another day. You want to plan a vacation? You're not worried about the dates. You're not worried about the travel time. You're not worried about, will my boss give me permission? This is the parking lot theory, and how much of your time is taken and dedicated to things. The more of that time that you free up, the better your actual, in the relativity of the length of the planet, the short time that you're here, be more amazing. And that's what I'm trying to help you get to. If you want your questions answered during a live stream, and I am happy to have you interrupt the Emperor's Groove, my live streams are every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. I will see you there. Have a day full of awesome.